Okay, I'm gonna check one more thing, and then I think we are good to go.
For
Um,
those of you who are old veterans of the podcast, you'll know that this is something that we do a lot.
yeah, not by choice, that's for sure. All right, we are back and locked and loaded. Hello, everyone. We are the Jocks of All Trades podcast. I am Brad, joined by Kyle and Luke. Um, Guys, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that went down this past week. Um, and I think the first thing I'd really want to talk about is the passing of Mike Taglieri. Tags was a really big fantasy. Uh, I can't even think of the word right now. Fantasy.
Analyst?
Yes, thank you for Fantasy Pros, and really nice guy. A lot of stuff happened. I know a lot of people in the community are grieving, and so is his family. So we just want to offer our support to his family as well, and especially knowing that's a super rough thing to go through. Um, with that being said, let us push on to the buzz. Guys, the biggest news here, Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Not, not, I guess, unexpected when he's being used like a literal workhorse 90% of the game. But the real question is this going to hurt the Panthers, or does Sam Darnold actually have enough to make this work?
Yeah, it's going to hurt them. McCaffrey can do it all. He's not just a good runner. He can catch it out of the backfield. He's a good blocker, very good pass blocker. He's smart. He's the dump off guy when Sam Darnold has nothing open. Just get it to McCaffrey. He'll make something work. He'll move the sticks. I mean, I like the receivers for sure. I mean, DJ Moore is really good. Robbie Anderson has some talent for them. Terrace Marshall out of LSU, they got him in this last draft. He's Tim Darnold. He'll never be able to do it on his own, I don't think, which isn't bad. I mean, like, Aaron Rodgers has Aaron Jones. Like, you need a good running back in this league, I think, or a decent enough one to make it far. So it's going to hurt, but we'll see if Chuba Hubbard can carry the load a little bit. And I think he's pretty darn good. He got drafted in the 5th round, I think, this last year, and definitely lower than what I thought he would have went. So it's going to hurt the Panthers for sure, but I don't think it's like the biggest blow because their defense is playing good too, and they do have some weapons on offense. So it's going to hurt, but it won't be the end of them. So
Yeah. No, what we're seeing with Sam Darnold is, and he's definitely improved since his days in the Jets organization. Now we're really going to be able to see what exactly this dude has to offer. He's going to be in a spot where the offense is basically down their massive star player. If you could have any fantasy player from the Panthers, you want it to be Christian McCaffrey. And you're going to see this Sam Darnold, who people were, when he was with the Jets, people were always the laughing stock. You're going to see him in a new organization where he's been having some measured success. Now the major test is coming in. It's like, all right, now how well can you do as the guy? And we're going to see what happens. I wish him all the best. I hope that he can do it. But it's ultimately going to be up to him, and I'm eager to see how much he can give.
Yeah. So in weird news, there's always weird trades that come up. But I was really weirded out that C.J. Henderson got traded to the Panthers for Dan Arnold and like some pick swaps. C.J. Henderson was a really high draft pick in 2020. They didn't even give him a year before jettisoning him for Dan Arnold. Kyle, please make sense of this for me because I'm still scratching my head over it.
Doesn't make sense at all. For the Panthers, it does, because Dan Arnold doesn't really do much for them. They have Ian Thomas. He's playing fine. Like, Dan Arnold's not like this elite tight end that they had to give up. They lost J.C. Horn, their first rounder from South Carolina. That's a big thing for the Panthers. Yeah. But they got C.J. Henderson to replace him, and Henderson while he might not be living up to the number 8 overall pick from Florida hype or whatever pick he was at, he's still young. Like, the Jaguars are absolutely stupid for giving up on him this early, especially for like a third rounder and a tight end. Like, how?
I think we might be experiencing some technical difficulties on Kyle's end.
But I definitely agree with Kyle. How?
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. Especially Jaguars need a lot of help on, well, every side of the ball. And for them to give up a really high draft pick for a tight end and change,
Yeah.
not a good look. Let's just say it's not the best look ever. Now, if you're the Panthers, you're like, but yeah, it's definitely not a good look for the Jaguars. It's continued bad luck for that organization, for Urban Meyer, and we just completely lost Kyle. But
I'm sorry, bro. I had to do it to him. He's sitting there frozen like that. I had to mess with him.
Yes, no.
Guys, if you don't and you live in the Indiana area, specifically Marion parts, welcome back, Kyle. Caleb is my barber.
Where did I get cut off?
He super cool guy. Check out Fresh Cuts. Super supportive of our podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us for a bit. I know you're busy. But anyways, yes, welcome back, Kyle. There's going to be something really fun for you when you see the recording later. Anyhow, that being said, yeah, none of that made sense to me whatsoever. I really wish I could make. Sorry. I know. He'll see. Anyhow, so yeah. Anyways, that was a weird trade. Moving on. So Andy Reid got sick after their game, and I'm sorry, but the only sick I'm seeing him as is maybe sick of losing, because apparently he felt right as rain not too long after that. So I'm not convinced that this is like a like a total sickness that's eclipsing everything that's going on. One of you help me out here. What's even going on with Andy Reid?
He's a big man. He's old. He's eaten a lot of cheesesteaks in Philly in his life and Kansas City barbecue.
Me too.
But you're not 60 years old. Yeah, this is very rare for him to lose 2 in a row for the Chiefs. They'll be fine. They'll get back in the thick of things at the end of this year. But yeah, dude, you're a head football coach. You're stressed out all the time. You stay up late. And if you were like a well-conditioned, healthy guy, guess what? You'd still be up late, probably getting fast food. But this guy, he's already unhealthy as it is. So he's probably up late at like 2 a.m. in the morning, eating McDonald's cheeseburgers, salivating over Patrick Mahomes' no-look throw. So I'm not surprised that he's like this. I mean, he's had a great career so far. I'm not calling him dead or he's going to die in the next 5 seconds, but like he's a big dude who probably eats unhealthy and he's stressed out. So, yeah.
Sorry, my computer like totally freaked out. Like the screen just went black. I'm like, great, I lost the podcast. Sorry. Yeah, but no, I definitely think health is a part of it. Luke, talk to me here. Definitely. So what? He is a big man. I'm with you on that. Like, dude should lay off the cheeseburgers for sure. Luke, will Aaron Rodgers be the MVP again after a slow start? A lot of people are clamoring for it already.
It's hard to say. I'm gonna say no, because back-to-back MVPs don't happen often. That's not to say that Aaron Rodgers won't. I just think what we saw week 1 was incredible, and it was an anomaly because he turned right around and has played 2 fantastic games past that. ultimately we're going to see. Again, I would lean no, because people will remember that first game because it was the first game of the season, and they're like,
Right.
"See, look how he was so terrible that game." And then you add that onto the fact it would be repeat MVPs for him, whereas you've got some other highly quality talent within the league. So I don't think it's likely. I think he'll be in the race. I think he's going to be a top horse within the race, but probably not going to come away with, the win on that one.
It's possible.
Yeah, he very well could. I mean, he's always going to be right.
Absolutely.
He's always right there at the end for sure. But I mean, guys right now that are like playing their butts off. I mean, Tom Brady. I mean, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. Matt Stafford. Let's talk about him for a second. Over 70% completion percentage, 9 TDs, 1 interception. They haven't lost yet. I mean, he looks like if there's anything that we're gonna, equivalent Matt Stafford to in his career, it's when like Kurt Warner was with the Rams and it's the greatest show on turf and all that. Stafford he's killing it, and he has crazy good weapons on the outside, a good running game, and a really smart head coach. Yeah. So Rodgers, will he be in it at the end? Probably, because he's a great quarterback, but Stafford's going to be there. Dak Prescott's going to be there, I think.
Dak, yes.
So I have to address this. Caleb asked us a question. Is it very likely or common to get back? If your name is Tom Brady, yes, it is. If not, I mean, I think it's really hard to get back. To play at that kind of a level consistently, that's hard. That's real hard to sit there and play like that. Not to say that he couldn't, but I don't think it's as common as people think it is. So that's a great question, man. Thanks for asking. Let's see. I think we lost Kyle again.
Oh no.
It's all right. He'll be back. I'm gonna skip our last bit and go ahead and move on to NFL highlights, and then we'll ask him what games he was interested in once we get there. So, quick recap: Panthers beat the Texans 24-9. Ravens beat the Lions on a miracle, a literal miracle. Welcome back, Kyle. It's all good. 19-17, longest field goal ever in history. Super sweet to see it. Let's see. The Bills beat the Washington football team 43-21. The Browns beat the Bears 26-6. The Titans beat the Colts 25-16. Chargers beat the Chiefs, the big shocker of the week, 30-24. The Saints beat the Patriots 28-13. The Falcons beat the Giants in a really boring game where neither one of them deserves a win, 17-14. Bengals versus Steelers, 24-10. Big Ben. I'm going to talk about that. Cardinals versus Jaguars, 31-19. Broncos versus Jets, 26-0. I lost my spot. So sorry. Raiders against the Dolphins, 31-28. I believe that went into overtime also. Now, the Rams beat the brakes off the Buccaneers 34-24. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. Vikings, Seahawks. Vikings won 30-17. Packers got left a good amount of time for Aaron Rodgers to do his thing on the board, 30-28 for the Packers. And the Eagles suffered a really terrible beatdown to the Cowboys, 41-21. Guys, pick a game or two, as we usually do, and break it down for me.
Yeah, I'm going to talk really quickly because apparently if I talk for over 20 seconds, I'll just die. So let's go the Bears versus the Browns. Matt Nagy, you need to be cut. You need to be fired. You're horrible. Offensive line's god-awful. Justin Fields getting murdered. If you can't do anything with Justin Fields in his first game in terms of scheme, getting him open passes, running the ball a little bit, you have no business being the head coach. Get out of here. Browns are going to be good. They're going to be fine. Yeah. Eagles versus Cowboys, just because I watched a half of it and I turned it off because I was so pissed off. Howie Roseman, it's your fault. It's all your fault. It always was. It always will be if you're on the Eagles. You need to blow it up again, but blow up yourself. And that's it.
Gotcha. Luke?
I'm going to quickly talk about Bengals versus Steelers. No, I think we can comfortably say, based on just the merit of the QBs, Big Ben is the worst QB in that division.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Lamar Jackson is better than him. Baker Mayfield is better than him. Joe Burrow, despite having basically no O-line, is better than him. And it showed on Sunday. It's just, and who would have thought that we'd be looking at a Bengals team that's won more than they've lost, even in week 3? I mean, you look back at the beginning of the season, no one was buying the Bengals, especially with all of the drama that was going on with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and all that. They're actually looking like, hey, if we can beat up on the Steelers 24-10, we might actually have a shot in this division. Yeah. So
and that is why media and preseason rankings don't matter.
They mean squat.
Week-to-week league, baby. That's what happens. Also, exactly Luke, the Bengals offensive line, usually pretty horrible, but they got their second-round pick in, Jackson Carman from Clemson. He gave up 0 sacks and 0 pressures. So if he can play like he did on Sunday, then their offensive line might not be as bad as what we thought.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm just going off of what happened in the draft when you feel like everyone was shouting, you got to pick up Penei Sewell. And they go and pick up Jamar Chase, who in preseason was like, the ball looks different than what I looked at in college. Therefore, I can't catch it. And I turned into
everybody overreacted.
But no, it's like the Bears said, no, not the Bears. The Bengals said they addressed the O-line. I'm not sure how many of us looked at that and said, yeah, they actually have. We more looked at that and was like, yeah, sure, you addressed the offensive line. But, that's why they're professionals and we aren't. They might have seen something in that second-round draft pick that they're like, hey, this guy can make things work for us, and we can pick up a real weapon for Joey in the first round. So it's looking like they might have actually kind of knew what they were doing. So congrats, Bengals. And I continue to wish Joe Burrow and the Bengals continued success.
Sweet. My 2 games, I have to talk about the Chargers and the Chiefs. I really do. Holy crap. Justin Herbert is a walking bucket. I was just really impressed with how he just took over that game for the Chargers. I'm not really sure what's going on with the Chiefs. Like, Mahomes is still playing well, but that defense is just so sus. Like, you can't be at the bottom of that division, like, at this point in the league, and yet you are. So that's concerning, especially because it doesn't seem like a lot of the receivers that should be getting involved are getting involved.
Well, they lost Sammy Watkins. That kind of hurts him. They couldn't replace him. Mecole Hardman's kind of the best. Like, he hasn't really done much at all.
And then basically people just double Tyreek, which takes him out of the game. So they might be in trouble. But anyways, there's that game. And the second game for me, guys, dude, the Rams, I did not see it coming. I did not see that kind of performance from Stafford. I didn't see it from Kupp. Kupp is having a freaking stupid season so far. I made fun of that trade. But right now, that might be a Super Bowl winning trade. I'm going to go ahead and hop on that train. Like, that is impressive to me. We'll see if that holds up. But for right now, yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, that's ridiculous. So
very impressive.
Might be. I mean, the Rams, the GM said, our strategy is trading for high-level players that are in their prime.
Yeah.
And then with the rest of our draft picks, like, 4th through 7th round, we're just going to swing for the fences. And that strategy might work. I mean, eventually, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Stafford, they're going to get old and peter out. But if this strategy keeps working, you're trading your first, second, thirds for high level players, and then just take a swing and big swing on draft picks in the 4th to 7th round. Like, it's working for them right now. So we'll see how long it lasts. Not a lot of longevity for the Rams, but it's working right now.
It might bring him a Super Bowl, which is important.
Right. That's what matters.
All right. Kyle is going to take over this next one. Give me 1 second, Kyle. I want to see if I can make you the main man here while you talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like it. Kind of weird.
There you go.
Fix me, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to give you a fix me team like I did last week. I believe last week was the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that fix me was very, very easy. Mainly because the Jacksonville Jaguars suck. And all you need to do is get rid of Urban Meyer. Eagles, a little bit of a different story. Howie Roseman is the GM, like I just said, and they need to get rid of him. Step number 1 is get rid of Howie Roseman. Number 2 is we need to find a quarterback. I'm not a big believer in Jalen Hurts. Number 3 is we need to get rid of the old and decrepit players on our team. Brandon Graham just got hurt for the season. Brandon Brooks, who's like 33 years old, got hurt. Isaac Samuel at 29 got hurt. Fletcher Cox is getting hurt every game. They have so many old players, not enough blue chip talent. If you look around the league, even the Cowboys, who they just played, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, they got elite talent at a lot of positions. The Eagles have elite talent at like 2 positions, and that's offensive line and defensive line. And guess what? The most people that are getting hurt are the offensive line and defensive line. So draft some linebackers, please. Draft some corners. And if you draft a receiver, make sure you draft Justin Jefferson over Jalen Reagor next time. And make sure you draft DK Metcalf over JJ Arcega-Whiteside next time. And maybe you'll be successful. But that's a big maybe. That's my fix me for this week. I hope the Eagles listen in on this, but they probably won't.
Yeah, that's a good take. I will say, however, I'm going to disagree with you that now you have the Heisman winner, so there is no reason why you cannot start up your pass game. Anyhow, that being said,
he got bullied by Trayvon Diggs last night.
He did, and that made me very sad. I'm ready to introduce this because I didn't get to do it last week. We're going to move to Spicy a Meatball. Which is our version of a hot take. I'm going to take over, which is going to make me feel really sketchy here in a minute once my computer figures out what I'm doing. Whoa, hello. So, guys, my hot take, my spicy a meatball for this week. Guys, the Broncos might be overrated. I know that's going to get a lot of Broncos fans heated. We've got Teddy Bridgewater now. Great, fantastic. It wasn't like Teddy Bridgewater has ever been playing for a Super Bowl. I don't believe in your 3-0, particularly because you have played the most garbage teams to get there. And I'm going to go and look exactly at like how they're faring against people to back up my claim. It was literally the only thing I did not have time to research this week. But you played the Giants, who are 0-3. The Jaguars, who are 0-3, and the Jets, who are 0-3. Where in the world do you think that you are going to compete in that division? Y'all about to play the Ravens. Now, I'm not going to go into a rant on my team, but listen, you're going to hit a defense that's a real defense. Let's put it that way. You're not going to get away with these little crappy dump throws. Melvin Gordon isn't going to do crap. Javonte Williams, maybe. I like him better than Gordon. That's just a personal preference. But, guys, I don't understand all the hype. I don't understand the people saying that Teddy B is just such a great quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. He is you fill in until we find somebody that's actually real to help our team quarterback. So I won't digress any further because I can't. I need to see what happens. But let me just give you a preview of the next 4 games to watch out for to come back at me about this take. They play the Ravens, the Steelers, the Raiders, and the Browns. My guess is you're going 0-4 in those games. Come back and quote me on that, but that is my spicy meatball for the week. Let me come back to Earth. That was strange, and I didn't like it.
I know I could hear. I was scared. I was very
I thought
scared.
it was so cool.
I wanted to jump out my window. I was scared.
Yes.
I'm gonna go 2-2 on the Denver Broncos, just to put a little spicy,
Who do
more
they
spicy
beat?
meatball into it. The Steelers and the Raiders. I think the Raiders.
If you say the Ravens, Kyle, we're gonna fight.
No, I think Ravens will beat up on them. I think Odafe Ola is gonna smash Teddy Bridgewater into the ground. Yeah. Oh no, poor Luke. Yeah, they're overrated for sure. Those teams are going to be number 1, number 2, and number 3 at the end of the year, probably, right? In terms of the worst teams.
If they're not, I'll be shocked.
They're all pretty
I think the Eagles might be up there too, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let's move on to let's take out the trash. The first one, okay. Dabo, you teach all about like being the guy and taking your L's and just learning to grow as a person. Why in the world do you have one guy out on the field, EJ Williams? I had to look you up because I didn't even know who you were. So that's even worse if you're throwing hands and acting like that. He was pushing and throwing hands at the end of the NC State game. Like, yeah, I get that they rushed the field, but they won. They're going to do that. You can't just sit there and attack people. That's going to be one of my people that we're going to send to the trash. Like, I don't care how mad you are. I don't care how bad you got beat. I don't care what your ranking was. You don't do that to people. You garbage. Have fun in the transfer portal when Dabo says, I don't want you on the team no more. So, bye.
Yep.
You can send Clemson to the trash too, because do you know what their hardest game was this year? According to like the index, with
Georgia?
NC State after Georgia, NC State, and then they lose. You know what I mean? Like that's their hardest game of the year in the last year. So bad. And they lose.
I'm gonna talk about it more. I promise I'll talk about it more later. The second one, Luke, I'm sorry.
No. Just if
Kayvon, let me explain quick, and then I'll let you talk about it. Okay. Kayvon Pope from Ohio State University gave up in the middle of the game, started walking to the sideline. Walking out. Coach had to go grab him and bring him back. When they brought him back, he took his gloves off, threw his gloves out in the stands, started taking his jersey off, and left. Then he got on Twitter and said, Ohio State. Like, whoa, like, come on, man. You're a senior. Like, you don't – I get it. Here's the problem. You picked Ohio State. It's the same as going to Alabama or Clemson. You are not guaranteed playing time. You are just not. There are too many good players on all those teams that you are not guaranteed a spot. If, however, you had proven your place, that might be a different story. But for you to do that to your team in the middle of a game where they were struggling in the beginning – let's start that out. They were struggling. They could have used you. Coach could have came to you at any point and said, hey, I need you to step up. Next man up mentality. Let's go. Instead, you said, I don't like this. I'm out. And now he's entered the transfer portal. So what the heck, first of all? Second of all, Luke, I know you're going to talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I as a fan who is in the Buckeye Twitterverse, I might be able to give a bit more context to exactly what happened. According to what I have read, Kayvon Pope thought that he was being subbed in for a play during a play.
Yeah.
One of the other linebackers waved him off, and that's when he got mad. I would be more inclined to agree with you, Brad, with all the, you got to have that next man up. It's like you are not guaranteed playing time. I'd agree with you if this was Alabama. Alabama, Nick Saban, and I commend this for him. Nick Saban operates with a pure meritocracy mentality. If you do not play well, you do not see the field. Part of me thinks that is sometimes not what happens at Ohio State. I've seen Urban Meyer. I've seen, happen a lot under Urban Meyer, where if you were the starter or you were an upperclassman, you would get played. You would get the majority of the playing time, even if there was a younger dog playing better than you. So I'm wondering if Ryan Day is slowly trying to change the culture to something more Saban-esque, and that's getting some of the upperclassmen mad.
Maybe.
That could be happening, and I'm going if I'm reading it right, that's a possibility. But you know what? You still got to have that dog mentality. You have to be okay. If I want to see the field, I've got to play up to my potential. And the hard thing is the linebackers at Ohio State right now. That whole core is in shambles. I think that they are being hurt by a bad scheme, which is making them think way too much and not allowing them to fly to the ball. So all of the linebackers are already super frustrated. And then this was for Kayvon Pope. What happened at the Akron game was the last straw for him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, Alabama and Ohio State are very rare because, well, Alabama a little bit more than Ohio State is like, yeah, if you don't play well, we'll put someone else in. Well, because they have the capacity to do that. Not many teams are like, well, if you don't play well, we got this. Oh, wait, you're like a freshman stinky walk. You know what I mean? Alabama is very rare.
They have to play Sean
they
Clifford.
have
They just don't have anything else.
I know. You're right. We don't. Like, Alabama has the luxury of having 5 stars at literally every freaking order of the depth chart.
I'm just playing.
And Ohio State is getting there. They are. Ohio State is very much getting there to the point where they can do that. So
I would here. Hold on. Here we go. You didn't know you were getting a part 2 today. Let me say that if Penn State pulls this off this year, Penn State has the chance to start building like that. Truthfully, it's true. Luke, would you agree with that? If they could prove they could win at a high level, they would be up there with us.
Proving that you win at a high level means winning with consistency. Otherwise, Penn State would be back already because they beat Ohio State back in 2016.
However, they were very darn close to beating Ohio State the next 2 years. I do think Penn State is close, but I don't think it's
still lost.
No. I'm not saying they're there yet. What I'm saying is if they win, like if you go to the playoffs, what is that going to do to kids that are saying, "Oh, I didn't know about Penn State. Maybe I'll go to Penn State." You know what I mean? Like
that does happen, but it's a very big if. I mean, every year that I've seen, like in the last 4 years, they have talent at a lot of positions, but not where it matters. Like if you watch Alabama, Ohio State, like those big teams, when they play a rinky-dink team like Villanova, their offensive line just smushes them. Penn State's, it can't yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I had to laugh. I saw a video of DeWand Jones, one of Ohio State's offensive linemen, absolutely murdering a defensive player on Akron's team. And it looked like someone's big brother pushing over a 14-year-old kid. It was so bad. And the size difference was just immense. And so I do agree with Kyle. I just say right now, in order for Penn State to start to really build, they need to get recruiting in, to start building a recruiting base. They need to start winning with consistency. And until you can start splitting games with the powers in the Big Ten, and as of right now, the man is still standing. Right now is Ohio State. Until they can start splitting games where it's like, oh, Penn State wins one, Ohio State wins another, then Ohio State wins again, then Penn State maybe wins the next 2. Until it turns into a kind of a rivalry-esque kind of thing, I don't think you're going to see Penn State reach the kind of recruiting levels that Ohio State and Alabama are experiencing right now.
However, Luke, I will say that right now, for next year's recruiting class, Penn State is number 1. Will it change? Probably. Right now, they are number 1 according to 24/7 Sports. So
Okay.
I think they can recruit. I do. Like, not as well as Ohio State, Alabama, no. But, like, they're close. But
Yeah,
it's
no,
just, can they get a
on the
good
tipping
quarterback?
point. They're on the
and
tipping point. They just need to start they need to start proving that they can win against the big dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they're taking some steps.
Let's chat about that in a second because we're going to get to the top 10 here in a sec. I do want to get through these. Kyle, I know you changed one. I'm mad because I wanted to talk about Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes, but it's fine. So Spencer Rattler or Sam Howell? Luke?
Oh, Sam Howell, because right now Rattler is looking like not
Garbage.
good at all.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, because Spencer Rattler is incredibly overrated, even with the talent that he has to work with.
Yep. Good. We're all in agreement. So for this upcoming Sunday, Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford? Kyle, hit me.
Matt Stafford, because Sean McVay is 1 million times more smart than Cliff Kingsbury ever will be.
Long sentence, but good sentence. Luke?
Matt Stafford, I would tend to agree.
All right. You. Justin Herbert or Derek Carr? Luke?
Herbert. The weapons are massive, and he's great.
Derek Carr, because John Gruden.
Yuck. Okay, that is flashbang. Now we can kind of curtail the rest of this conversation over here. So top 10, Alabama beats Southern Miss 64-14. They moved to 4-0. Georgia beats Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt 62-0. They moved to 4-0. Oregon beats Arizona 41-19. They moved to 4-0. Penn State beats Villanova at home 38-17. They moved to 4-0. Number 5, Iowa versus Colorado State 24-14. They moved to 4-0. Number 6, Oklahoma versus West Virginia 16-13. They moved to 4-0 with another miracle. I'll talk about that one later. Number 7, Cincinnati. They had a bye this week, but they are 3-0 currently. Number 8, Arkansas beats number 7 Texas A&M, overrated, 20-10 and moves to 4-0. I am so proud of Arkansas. Number 9, Notre Dame against number 18 Wisconsin, 41-13. They moved to 4-0. I'll talk about that one too. And number 10, Florida beats Tennessee 38-14. They move to 3-1 with their one loss coming against Alabama. There's a lot to unpack here. Pick one game, chat about that game. Kyle, if you want to chat about Penn State, I fully expect you to. If not, that's cool. Kyle, why don't you start us off, Luke, and then I'll round us up.
Arkansas versus Texas A&M. This is a battle of some SEC boys, big SEC boys. Arkansas, remember the name Traylon Burks. This dude's like 6'3", 230 as a wide receiver. He's literally unstoppable. Like, he runs like he's, like 5'9", 180. But he's physically, he's hard to bring down. He catches everything, and he kind of showed it against Texas A&M. Jimbo, he needs some help in terms of getting a better quarterback in there. Arkansas, their quarterback, KJ Jefferson, I believe, he's just like, he's a massive human being. He's not the greatest passer in the world, but
isn't he like 6'5" or something massive?
Yeah, like 260. If he's running a quarterback draw, like, you're not going to bring him down. I think they're just a team to watch out for because they're experienced, they're big, they're physical, and their quarterback can run a little bit, which is usually Alabama's Achilles heel. I'm not saying they're going to compete there, but I'm just saying if there's a team there that you're like, oh, that they could have a chance. Maybe Arkansas. I like what they're doing.
I agree. This is the first year in a long time that I've been scared of Arkansas for exactly what you mentioned. That's why I wanted to talk about it. Mobile quarterback, and honestly, 6'5", like 260 is what I make in Madden and run people over. That's what he's doing in real life, and that's terrifying. I'm proud of Arkansas. Arkansas has been in the basement of the SEC for a long time, and they're putting it together. And I said earlier in the season, A&M is overrated when they struggled against Colorado I did not think they deserved to be there, and Arkansas exposed them badly. So yeah, I'm with you on that. That was impressive. Luke, go for it.
I think I know which game Brad's going to want to talk about. So I'm going to talk about Florida v. Tennessee. Florida despite the loss to Alabama, is looking like a contender. I fully expect if Georgia and Florida were to play this Saturday, I think I'd take Florida, and there are a lot of people I think who would roast me for that opinion. But I look at what Florida has been able to do on both sides of the ball, just being able to compete and stay within 2 points of Alabama is impressive.
Yeah.
And I look at Georgia. Now, Georgia has shown that they do have some offensive capabilities against some lesser opponents. We're going to see what they're made of come the start of SEC schedule. But really, the one halfway good team that they've played all year was week 1 against Clemson. And I still can't get out of my mind that the only person from Georgia that scored a touchdown in that game was a defensive player.
Yeah.
So I want to see proof of Georgia's offensive prowess against a halfway decent team before I start making a judgment about them. I will say their defense is extremely good, but I'm seeing a ton more balance from Florida than I'm seeing potentially from Georgia. So right now, I'd have to say Florida. And if Florida makes it to the SEC championship game against someone like Alabama, if Alabama has to play Florida again, I'm telling you, there is something about playing a good team twice in one season. It is hard to win both games against a good team.
Well, I would agree with that, except it's Alabama. So, I mean, yeah, it's still going to be a tall order for Florida. It's not just going to be they walk in and just mop the floor with us. Like,
no, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Anyhow, you might be wrong about the game that I wanted to talk about. I did want to talk about Arkansas and A&M. Kyle took that one. I have to apologize to a lot of Facebook users and Twitter users. I've been very harsh on Notre Dame this year because they always seem to scoot by against these really crap teams and get away with it. However, you beat a middling Big Ten team that usually has a good defense. So that's impressive to me. Granted, Cone was out. Cone got hurt. But they came up hard on defense and did a whole lot. I think they had 4 interceptions, if I remember correctly. To look at
Graham Mertz was Notre Dame's best player.
Yeah. But still, they found a way to win. I did not think they were going to come out of Wisconsin with the win. I'm just shocked. I will say that Notre Dame looked good in one game. Maybe I'm wrong about Notre Dame, but still, I don't believe even if they make the playoffs, they're going to do anything. But they're starting to deserve the hype of being where they are. I can't take that away from them. That is my game for the week.
Yeah. I thought you were going to roast Oklahoma again.
Oh, no.
They deserve it.
Don't worry. That's what we're doing next. So, guys, I am going to steal the spotlight just for one because I love bashing the rival team, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have a fun time while I'm doing it. So sorry. I will share the rest with you guys, but I have to talk about it. Whew. Up high, down low. Ooh, too slow. Auburn, what even? It's Georgia State. Y'all are supposed to be this big guy in the SEC this year, and everybody's talking about, ooh, Auburn might be a dark horse. You can't even beat Georgia State without benching Bo Nix. You ain't nothing. I don't want to hear it. I'm done. We're going to win this Iron Bowl by 40. I'm tired of hearing from y'all. I really am. Bo Nix is trash, and I don't care who disagrees with me. He is garbage. He cannot come up in big situations. Even against Penn State, he had the ball late in the game. They could have drove the field and won, and they didn't. Now, I wasn't there for that, so I am going to come back. Kyle, was it his fault that they lost to Penn State? Kyle?
I think we lost our man again.
Kyle said, I don't want to answer that. Maybe he'll come back in a second. We'll see.
Yeah.
If not, I'm going to move on, and then we can come back to that one. But anyways, yeah, there's no way that you should have to bench your starting quarterback. I'm still just looking to see if he's going to come back. Are you dead? Did you make it? Are you okay? I'm going to remove you. Hopefully I'll see you in a minute.
Oh, my gosh.
No. Okay.
While Brad's trying
Aha! There he is. Okay.
Like 5 times in this podcast. So
It's fine. It's okay. At least you're here and we can hear you. It's fine. I was going off on Bo Nix, and I said Bo Nix even had the ball late against Penn State, if I remember correctly, and they didn't come out with it. Kyle, I wasn't at that game. Can you confirm that Bo Nix was the reason they did not beat Penn State?
For our listeners out there, I just see the camera. He opens his mouth to speak and immediately cuts out. I'm gonna see if, because I'd love to also hear Kyle's take on this, but while we're trying to get our man back, I'm gonna talk about Oklahoma v. West Virginia.
Go ahead. But you got to do the thing if you're
Oh
gonna do
yeah,
it.
well, Oklahoma, up high, down low, ooh, too slow, and don't even get me started on Spencer Rattler. Oh my gosh, how overhyped can a QB be? People were talking about, oh, this dude, yeah, Heisman candidate before the season even started, and he has looked awful. It's like, Big 12 teams are supposed to be known for their offense, and you put 16 up against West Virginia. You're literally having to depend on your defense to win games, and it's West Virginia.
Worse, they clamored for him to get benched and taken out of the game. That's bad.
Yeah, no. Spencer Rattler, it's like they wanted to put in the other dude, and I'm just like, This is bad. No, it's like, I thought Ohio State was in trouble, but at least I think there's a chance we could potentially get it fixed. If this is going to be your starting QB, it's sad.
Yeah. I'm going to skip talking about Clemson and Texas A&M. We kind of did that already. Kyle, I desperately want to hear your take about Bo Nix against Penn State.
Bo Nix is a garbage can. All the throws that he made in that game were just like throw it up, back shoulder throws that Penn State couldn't get their heads turned around. Like, he didn't make any good throws that game. Is he a good runner? Sure, but he has not progressed like you would have wanted him to.
No.
Yeah, he kind of choked in Beaver Stadium, rightfully so. It's a hard place to play well,
Yeah.
but
Especially during
but my argument is, if he is this big elite quarterback out of the SEC, that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, he's not. No, and I hope no one's saying that, because he's not at all.
Well, I'm sure Colin Cowherd will come out and defend him, because Cowherd's an idiot. Anyhow, so that is all for up high, down low, too slow. We are finally going to do Jock, Paper, Scissors. Kyle, you wrote this one. I'm going to let you run this. Have at it.
These are all 3-0 teams in the NFL, and I want to know who is the best team out of all these teams. I will let you guys choose first who you want to defend.
I'm going to do like some very brief research, and then I will go to the defense of the team that I have in mind.
I will just go right on out and give a defense of the Arizona Cardinals.
All right.
I think the Cardinals probably have the best situation here, because they have a QB that's all of a sudden showing that he can really, really play. Kyler Murray has, I think, outperformed expectations so far this year. I mean, if you have him on your fantasy team, you know this. So I look at that. I look at the weapons that he has, and he's got some good ones. Now, the only thing with the Cardinals is, the defense might be a bit suspect. But if you can protect Kyler Murray and let him throw to some of those dogs that he has, I say the Cardinals have a very good shot to make a deep run. Now, how deep? We don't know. But I think they can at least make a solid playoff run.
Brad, who are you choosing?
Okay, so I had to do the quick research. I wanted to see what their schedule was. The Panthers. I'm going to be the odd man out, I think, here, because I don't know if Kyle's thinking the same way, but I'm going to take the Panthers.
I'm picking Raiders. That's how it's going to work.
Great. Then we have 3. That's awesome. So listen, the Panthers play the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Giants, the Falcons, the Patriots. The Cardinals will be rough. The Washington football team, the Dolphins, the Falcons, the Bills, the Bucks, the Saints, and the Bucks again. So, yeah, there's at least 3 or 4 losses in there, but that's still good enough to potentially win your division and have a home field advantage if not everybody else sucks. Like, you could run the table. And I will be that person to come out and say, I believe in Darnold. I really do. What I've seen in 3 games, that's more than we saw in his whole entire time that he was with the Jets. I am impressed. I'm cool with it. I'm rolling with the Panthers.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to say, but you guys are all wrong because the Las Vegas Raiders are the easiest choice here. Listen, Derek Carr has been criminally underrated in his career. He's always been a good quarterback. Why hasn't he talked about? Well, it's the Raiders. They're not sexy. He hasn't had the best of weapons. Well, now he has Darren Waller, and he has Henry Ruggs, and he has Hunter Renfrow, and he has Brian Edwards, and he has Josh Jacobs, and he has Kenyon Drake. He's always had a good O-line. It's getting better now. And they're 3-0 in a tough division, too. Like, they beat the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, yeah, you beat the Chiefs, you're gonna have some success down the road. Defense, I think, is still a little bit of a question mark. But they got some really good defensive ends. Their secondary is playing a little bit better. Jonathan Abram back there, he doesn't really excite me that much. They're going to win on the heels of John Gruden and that offense. And they might not have beaten the Chiefs, but they did beat someone good. Who'd they?
Ravens, Steelers, and Dolphins.
Okay. Well, Ravens pretty good.
Yeah.
Steelers, well, maybe not so much. Ben Roethlisberger looks like crap. But the Dolphins too. I mean, they're not horrible at all. But I just think it's their year. I think the Cardinals, while they have a lot of talent on that team, Cliff Kingsbury is not a good head coach. I've seen many Cardinals fans that have said the reason why we won't do well is because of Cliff Kingsbury. Like, Murray does this in spite of what Cliff Kingsbury does. As for the other team here that we're talking about, I like the Panthers too, but
okay, let me ask you this. If McCaffrey was healthy, would that change your mind?
No, because they're just too young, I think. Too young in terms of Darnold. Like, Darnold's still pretty young. Darnold and their receivers and Matt Rule and Joe Brady, like, they're just way too young. Their defense is young, and they just traded for TJ Henderson because JC Horn was like their best defensive player. So I think the Raiders overall have good talent. They have good experience, and they could wind up playing pretty well down the road.
That's true. Let's wrap it up with our NBA segment known as Baller Bill, y'all. So this one really irritated me. I'm going to bring it up. Yes, it's not quite going to make sense, but it will once I get through it. So Kyrie was a no-show at Media Day because of a vaccination thing. that's whatever. Sure, he might get vaccinated and play, whatever. I don't really have a problem with that. I have a problem that once again, Kyrie is a no-show to things. And that bugs me because he said, well, if I get traded, I'm going to retire. Well, you can't even show up for games, man. You can't even show up for anything. Go ahead and retire. The Nets are honestly okay with just Harden and KD. They don't need you. Like, at this point, I'm done. I've been done with Kyrie, but that's because he ruined Boston. But I listen, if this is the way he's going to be, he then said to LeBron, I want my own team. He got that in Boston. Couldn't do that. Then he got his dream team. Who wouldn't play with Harden and KD? And he can't even show up. So I think it's going to be a consistent problem regardless. Does anybody disagree with me at this point?
No, I do not like him. However, if the Sixers were like, we'll trade you Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving,
yeah,
I'd probably
I
do
would
it.
take it.
Just because, like, why not?
Yeah. Trade one drama queen for another.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of using the vaccination status on a player. Like, if you were, if you weren't. I know it's not what you're saying, but like Kyrie, just in general, is just he's a head case, and he has been for a while. I don't know.
Which was my whole point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of unvaccinated, I did know this. I'm glad you put it in there because I kind of forgot to talk about it. Andrew Wiggins is also unvaccinated. He put in a request for non-vaccination because of a religious exception. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
And the NBA basically was like, no. So I guess he's just going to miss all the home games for the Warriors. At this point, there's been a lot of people clamoring, just trade him. Like, you can't not go through your season without Wiggins, especially if Clay is going to take a minute to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even if he is healthy, you know they're going to have to limit his minutes, etc. Like, you can't miss Wiggins. You can't put everything on Curry. So, do you trade him?
I think you keep him and hope he gets vaccinated. I think it's pretty rare, though, if he says, I don't want to get vaccinated because of a religious reason. I feel like for the most part, like, companies would be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Usually that's kind of the trump card there is like, hey, I can't go to work because of this religious reason, and they have to accept it. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? So that's pretty rare. So
money talks, though. I think that's what it is.
I'll be interested to see what's going to happen because that's pretty rare to me to see that, and for them to be like, nope, you still got to get it. So we'll see.
And our last bit of news, the Ben Simmons drama is continuing. Do you know what players? I know some Sixers players tried to travel out to meet him, but he didn't want to meet and refuses to talk with anybody. Who went out to meet him?
Toby, Matisse Thybulle, Embiid.
Of course.
They all, like, the good players, you know? It's funny because they were like, oh, well, it's the fans' fault.
How do you not listen to Embiid, bruh?
You know, like, it's the fans' fault or it's their fault. Like, people are literally reaching out to you to come back. If they didn't like you, Ben Simmons, they would say so. That's what Embiid said. He was like, listen, I'm not stupid. If the Sixers wanted to trade me for Steph and Clay, they would. And I would agree with it because those guys are good. You know what I mean? Like, if they want you gone, they will get – you know what I mean? Yeah. Every team of every in every league, NBA, NFL, baseball, like, you are not – they'll trade you. If they get a good offer, they will trade you. It's how it works. Like, it's not that rare for people to be in trade talks. So he really needs to get over himself because people are literally reaching out and want him back. And he said no. The ball is in his court.
Yeah.
But the ball is in his court, but it won't really matter because he won't be able to put it anywhere else because he has no idea how to shoot. So it'll just keep dribbling there for a while until he, you know,
retires.
Yeah. So,
but anyhow, that wraps up Jock's Talk. Thanks for being with us this week. This is the only show that is no, I lied. This is not the only show that's all three of us. But it's the only show that's live that's all three of us. So thanks for coming, chatting with us, commenting. Steven, I still don't understand your comment. I'm going to pick on you about it. But that's fine. And we will see you guys later.
See you guys.